Welcome back to the Next Gen Profits Podcast. I'm your host, your mentor, your big brother, Michael Feldhazen. Today we are going into part 2 of an incredible podcast with Dr. Mark Rutland. If you have not listened to part 1, go ahead, pause this podcast, go back, listen to part 1. There's elements and details in that podcast that are going to equip you and impart into your timeliness of being present, not just in the spiritual aspect, but as well as in your day-to-day work life. So pause this recording, go back and listen to part 1 of yesterday's podcast with Dr. Mark Rutland. Today though, we're going to jump in. So pull up that chair, grab your notepad. If you're making coffee, get that coffee situated and sorted. You do not want to be distracted, as Dr. Mark Rutland is going to be giving you incredible keynotes of how to be present the right way. So don't forget, like, subscribe, follow us on social media. We love testimonies. We love getting connected with our podcast listeners. So go ahead, reach out, connect with us. Tell us how this podcast has blessed you. What is your takeaway? We want to know your name. You can reach us at nextgenprofits.org. nextgenprofits.org. All of our details, all of our shows, every little piece of information you can find in the show notes of today's podcast. Well, Deborah, let's go ahead and jump straight in. Over to you.
I'm loving where this conversation is going, because now I want to shift gears a little bit. Okay. So our next gen prophets, they are the kind that receive. They are the kind that are ready to take action. They want to apply everything you're talking about. So I'd love to talk a little bit about the practicalities of how to make this applicable to their lives. What are some steps you would recommend they start doing to, one, be present, but also stay future focused when it's needed, and then also just getting their hands in the plow to really fulfill what they need to do on this earth?
Well, that's a good question. And it's like, I was coach before I went into the ministry. So I'd be coaching some kid in baseball, and he would say, how do I get my batting average better? I would say, well, get more hits. So that question is kind of a batting average question. So how do I get better and be more disciplined at being in the moment?
Yeah.
So you have to be more disciplined at being in the moment. Yeah. So there isn't a secret. There isn't a key. It's intellectual, emotional, spiritual self-discipline. Learning to eschew thoughts that are distracting. Focus. Really be there emotionally, mentally, be with somebody.
Yeah.
Be present is what I always call. I wasted too much of my youth not being present where I was. Here's an example. Yeah. Going back to the girl you were talking about that's getting a lot of openings.
Yes.
Okay. One can actually diminish one's effectiveness in a ministry moment by allowing the vain thought to creep in that this moment will lead to another moment.
Oof, yes.
I've had people, the more quote unquote prominent or whatever it is that I've become, I see young people rush up to me with a CD they want me to, would you look at this, or something they want me to read or whatever. And they have the feeling that by brushing up against my life, by coming into my life, that it'll open something else for them. That I can be the
catalyst.
Exactly, the catalytic agent that will take them into a next place. And I always want to say to them, what that feels like to the other person is that I'm using you.
Ooh, yes.
I'm using you to get to where I really want to be. I don't really want to be with you. I'm using this to get elsewhere. So this girl, I don't know her, know anything about her, but she gets invited to come and sing or speak or preach, whatever it is she does, at some church of 300. But she's thinking in the back of her mind, if I do really well here, there's going to be somebody in the house whose brother is the pastor of a church of 1,000. And this is going to get me to that church. And what it actually does is diminish her anointed effectiveness in that place. Don't use places, people, and time to get to another moment in time.
Ooh, oh my goodness. Honestly, that would be the mic drop right there. We could just end right here and walk away. But I want to focus in. I know as we're beginning to talk, there's just the realities of life. There are going to be things that come up that tend to hinder our time, whether that's financial struggles, whether that's health issues, maybe even, like you mentioned earlier, relationship issues that are going to come up that are going to try and steal our time. How do we navigate that? How do we find out, okay, what is something I can't afford to invest my time in? Because let's be honest, time is a currency. We need to make wise investments just as we would with our finances. How do we make the wise investments in those areas, but also avoid the wrong investments?
Yeah. I think that one of the things I'm having a hard time with
You're
is
fine.
chair.
I know. That's why I was like, I'm going to just stop.
I think that, again, I'm probably projecting my weaknesses on everybody else, but the younger I was, the more challenging I found it to say no. I'm better at it now to limit. Somebody says, "Can you be here an hour?" I say, "No, I can be there 20 minutes." I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
Can you do these 5 nights? No, I can do 1 night. But when I was younger, I think I lived in a kind of insecure fear that if I said no about anything, it would limit some future possibility, something. So I think that I would urge people, ask God to give you the wisdom to winnow out opportunities. Not every opportunity is created equal. And this is also a challenge. You can't judge every opportunity based on objective data.
Yes.
So young people tend to think if I'm choosing between speaking at a church of 300, to use the example I used a minute ago, church of 300 or a church of 1,000, this is obviously the one. But again, remember about Jesus. In speaking to the multitude, Jesus always had time for the one.
Yes.
And the greatest things, when you think of Jesus' miraculous moments, when you think of his teaching moments, it's the Sermon on the Mount.
Yes.
When you think of his miraculous moments, it's actually mostly with one-on-one.
Woo! Come on now. Prophets, we're so busy looking for the next great thing that we're not taking that moment to appreciate the now, to appreciate those miraculous moments. And I love this concept. I want to just take a prophetic moment as your big sister to drive this point home to you. You've been asking God, and I know, I see you, I feel you in the spirit. You're saying, why do I need to wait here? I want to go to this revival. I want to be the one that goes out and touches the millions and the millions get healed. But God says, start at home. Start with your children. Start with your spouse. Start with your local church. Start with your community. That's where the miracles are going to begin. And as you begin to practice those gifts, as you begin to invest in that little bit, God will then give you the bigger dispensation of grace and anointing that you need to go to that next level. Don't squander your time. Make a wise investment today with the little bit that you have until you can afford to make a greater investment. That is what it means to be in this modern dispensation. We're so busy rushing from here to there to the next great revival that we're not taking that time to just invest today where we can invest today. Now, sir, I am aware of your time. I am aware that you've got some places to be. You've got grandkids to go take care of. So I want to end us off with one last question to you, sir. What is one last piece of advice or wisdom you would like to leave behind for the next generation?
All right, we've been talking about time and God. So let me deal with one thing. Philip the evangelist in the book of Acts goes to Samaria, and you remember God gives him a city-wide revival. I just want you to think about it. He goes and speaks. The whole city is water baptized. I've never had anything like that in ministry. Samaria is a revival. Then Peter and John show up from Jerusalem. And what was a stage 1 evangelical revival, salvations, miracles, water baptism.
Yes.
Peter and John show up, and it's a Pentecostal revival. Then Peter and John lay hands on the people that were saved under Philip's ministry, and they're baptized in the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And Peter and John go back to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And God says to Philip, now I want you to think where Philip is at this moment. He must have been thinking, God, where do you want me to go next? You gave me the whole city of Samaria. Athens? Rome?
Yep.
The apostles are going back to Jerusalem.
Yep.
What about Jerusalem? And the next line says, and God said unto Philip, go down into Gaza, which is desert. So we talk about going to the next level, but the next level may not be what God doesn't think like we think.
No.
So we think, I'm pastoring this little situation here, and God says, I'm going to take you to the next level. We say, great. God says, it's Gaza, where it's a desert. And the next moment of ministry for Philip, he's just been given a city.
Yeah.
His next moment of ministry, he's given one Ethiopian eunuch in the middle of the desert. That's his next great moment. But the first African convert is in that moment in the desert in Gaza. So what I would say to young people is, yes, wait on God, believe God, obey God, but just remember his view of big is not necessarily your view of big. Wider is not necessarily his view of wider. God just doesn't think like we think.
Yeah.
Go through the doors that God opens, answer the call, be present in that moment, and leave the breadth of your ministry to God.
Come on. Guys, this has been the Next Gen Prophets with Dr. Mark Rutland. If we could sit here all day, we would. This has been just a fountain of wisdom. I know you don't see yourself as the man, the myth, the legend, but sir, this podcast just solidified that. Guys, if you have not checked out the show notes, go check out the show notes. Go get his book, especially David the Great. I love the narrative that you share in this book of David being a human being.
Thank you.
And what that looks like. So guys, go check it out. The links are in the show notes. Follow him through. And finally, if you were blessed by this podcast series, if you were blessed by any of our podcasts, consider partnering with us. We are reaching over 193 countries and supporting and providing free training resources for prophets all over the world because of people like you who believe in this message, who believe in the work that we are doing. So there's some giving information in the show notes. We love you tons. We're going to end off now. This is your big sister signing out.